NBC News had reporting that Biden is continuing building a border between Texas and Mexico.
Yeah. So I did see that reporting. I think it is sad that Biden is this late to doing something that obviously should have been continuing starting on day one of his administration, but was constrained by his own partisan trap of his own making and his party's own making, because Donald Trump had advocated that policy, even though it's a sensible policy that most Americans agree with. They had to distance themselves from it because it happened to have come out of Trump's mouth. And that's a sad state of American politics today. And what's even sadder is now that he finally comes around to it, it's too little too late. We have cartel-financed tunnels being built underneath that wall. So what we're actually going to need is far more significant steps of, I believe, militarizing our southern border, fixing the asylum system that's granting asylum willy-nilly. You want to solve 50% of the border crisis right out of the gate, have someone require proof of political persecution when they actually show up. That solves a big part of the crisis. Use the military, excuse me, thank you, use the military to seal the open spaces on the border. That's what the moment actually requires, but he's playing from behind because of that, I would say, political lapse. You asked several other questions.
Sorry.
Let me track back to one of them.
Yes, House Speaker.
Yes, Speaker.
Yeah.
So I actually think it would be pretty interesting if Donald Trump temporarily assumed a post as House Speaker and then to Jim Jordan, who I think would make for a good speaker. He's from my home state. I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last, probably year and a half. He's a strong leader. I think he has strong, broad-based backing in the Republican Party from what I can tell. But more importantly, he's a guy who speaks his convictions without fear. And I think he would do a good job in the role. But my view is, given that we've gone through this tumult, let's get the most out of it. We haven't dealt with a $33 trillion national deficit or the border crisis or our dependence on China. So at the time we're going through this tumult, let's go the distance with the unusual nature of this. I would put Donald Trump in that seat. I think that he would be a good choice. I would support him in that seat on an interim basis and then have Jim Jordan take over with, I would say, somewhat of a reset and a clean slate in the otherwise messy shenanigans of Congress.